What's up, community? This is Matthew from Toastmasters International Bryanston Breakfast Club. You're listening to the Toastmasters International Bryanston Breakfast Club podcast. More people than ever are choosing to face their public speaking fears, build their confidence, and unlock their leadership skills in the process. On this show, I sit down with these courageous public speakers to discuss the ideas, the opportunities, the challenges, and the strategies that they're taking advantage of so the rest of us can do the same. Welcome to the show where leaders are made. Hello and good evening, everybody. We are back on the Bryanston Breakfast podcast, and today I've got a really exciting guest in the audience. Our guest today is Carmen De Beer. She is a human being trying to live life to the fullest, or trying to live the fullest, most loving life. I had the privilege of being inspired by this human being during a Toastmasters International Marissa Club meeting. She is a curious chemical engineering graduate, a data engineering professional with a passion for lifelong learning, new ideas, and interesting life itself. She's also the co-founder of Georgina's Lingerie, the mother of 20 Life Learners, a non-profit online platform that focuses on story, knowledge, and idea sharing for young adults to become lifelong learners. And the very interesting thing about our guest is that she's always using the biggest roadblocks in her journey through life as her greatest teachers. I had an amazing conversation with her just yesterday, and so today I'm very excited to learn what she has to teach us today. Join me in excitement as I welcome Carmen De Beer. Carmen, hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's awesome to be here, and I'm excited for the cool chat.
Awesome. So guys, we're going to work with this lag. I'm going to have practice my Toastmaster pauses today so that this doesn't get a bit awkward. But it's going to be a very exciting challenge. Carmen, as we get into it, do you want to just give us some background information on just who is Carmen De Beer? Apart from the amazing stuff that I mentioned in the intro.
I know, I feel like you gave me such an awesome welcome. I'm not too sure what I'm going to say. I am, I think, a jack of all trades, and I'm trying to find which one I want to be good at or I want to be awesome at. Like you said, I studied chemical engineering at the University of Cape Town, and then I saw opportunities in the data engineering and machine learning and artificial intelligence space, and I was like, awesome, let me check that out and become a data engineer. And so I'm working at a tech consulting company that's based in the UK. I'm doing a lot of awesome things this year to try and grow myself as a young professional. And one of those was checking out Toastmasters, and that's where we met. Besides that, I'm quite a foodie. I really like the outdoors. I like reading. I kind of like everything, honestly. Like, you can talk to me about anything. I guess cricket's the one thing I'm not a huge fan of. It's too slow and boring.
Oh, wow.
It takes the whole day, and I like things where it's more exciting. That's why I've been a squash player, and things where the sport is quite pumpy and exciting. So I think that's me.
I can see the common thread in everything. There's always a level of excitement and a level of high energy that you're trying to tap into when you're doing whatever it is you're doing. Like from the hiking to, like you were saying, it was from the hike, things like just hiking and squash is the word.
I definitely think you live once, you gotta go full in, you gotta suck the marrow out of life and squeeze the zest and all those other cliche things, but at the end of the day they're not that cliche, and gotta own it. That's definitely something I try and live by. I think I read a quote the other day that I was like, I really like this. Is to live my legacy and not to leave a legacy. So yeah, I'm feeling that at the moment. I feel like that's going to be my motto.
I love that. To live your legacy. The crowd loves it. So Carmen, tell us, how does somebody with such a diverse interest, chemical engineering to data engineering to hiking and squash, find themselves in the Toastmasters space?
So honestly, I started working with some awesome people at TerraFlow, and one of my co-workers is in the sales team, and he was like, you'd be really good in sales. And I was like, whoa. I'm trying to get technical abilities here. Like I'm trying to be a coder, like step back, man. I don't want to be, because it's so easy when you join somewhere to get like pulled in all these directions, and there's so many exciting opportunities, and you forget what your job title is not that, like I joined the events committee, and then I was doing events things the whole day, and I was like, no, this is not what I'm paid for. Then this coworker Simon was like, well, come with me to my Toastmasters meeting, and you can learn how to communicate better and, learn persuasive language skills, which is essentially like the crux of sales. And yeah, it took a bit of convincing because there was such a stigma to it from my school days. And then I joined Toastmasters and I really enjoyed it. And I really think this is something I'm going to explore further and invest some proper time in. So that's how I landed up at Toastmasters, honestly. It was an inspirational co-worker, and I just was like, let me do this.
I love that your co-worker brought you to the club. But one thing that I also love about what you said was the persuasive skills that you'd want to learn from the space, the persuasive speaking skills. And I'm thinking here, I'm like, who are you trying to persuade, Carmen?
Who am I trying to persuade? You know what? I think, like we spoke about the other day, there's definitely a life that I want to create for myself and things I want to achieve. And to me, what's sort of standing between me and that, obviously, is a lot of personal growth and a lot of skill sets and things. But there's a fundamental need to be able to explain to other people around you and explain your worth and persuade people of your ideas, of your goals, of everything. And I think if you can't articulate that properly, you won't be able to create the life you want. And so to me, I think it's, maybe I'm convincing myself of a cool life, I don't know. But there's definitely a part of it that's like, I know what I sort of envision or what I sort of want, and I want to be able to have the skills to persuade others of that, if that's my ideas, if that's of my worth to them as a worker or as a business partner or as a, honestly, the sky's the limit. But I think it's such an important skill to create the life you want, persuasive communication skills, that is. So yeah, I think that's who I'm trying to persuade.
You're trying to persuade other people so that you can create the life you want. And I absolutely love that, because people help you build your, like they say, your network is your net worth, right?
100%. And if you can't, you can be like the most talented person in a room. I really believe that. And if you can't convince people of what you are worth or your ideas or your projects, it's honestly, all that talent's worthless. And it's scary because I see it a lot in the tech space. There'll be these amazing coders, but you put them in front of a client and they don't know what to do. And it's so sad because I'm like, you're so good at your job. just show them. and then there's nothing, and it's not good. And I don't want that for myself,
You know what, Carmen? I want to give you a high five through the screen because that was so amazing. That was so amazing. And it's something that I've also never really thought about until you brought it up now, which is you have people that are really skilled at what they do, but put them in front of people and ask them to tell them. And it's almost like they freeze up. And somehow through, sorry, go for it.
And it becomes like a disability, like their communication skills and their ability to persuade others of, insert idea of themselves, whatever, becomes like a disability. And it's like, that's so sad, because it's like they have so much to offer and they just can't.
Yes.
People. It's so bad. Yeah. We don't want to be like
So
that.
how is it that you were able to cultivate this winning mindset and this, further thinking mindset? Because I've spoken to a number of people, and I've listened to you speak, and I remember mentioning to you that it was in your table topics presentation when I noticed that your mindset around this growth, around opportunity, and around how you see the world is so different. So how is it that you came to this conclusion, or how is it that you cultivated this mindset to say that, you know what, I want to win, I need to learn how to be persuasive? What is ultimately driving you is what I'm asking.
Yeah. I think, if we had to dig deep, it's weird, right, that you say winning, because I wouldn't actually say I'm a competitive winning person. But underneath that, there's this, I really do believe that life is fleeting. Like, we honestly are all going to die, and there's going to be nothing left. And that's so morbid. But at the end of the day, you can build the massive hotel in Dubai, and it's going to fall to nonsense in no time. And that's you gone, You're only here for, honestly, like a split second in the universe's long history. And like, Earth's not going to exist. We're not going to exist. And so why not just jump at opportunities and make life as awesome as you can? Because you're here for so short in the big scheme of things. And I think for me, it's almost like a courage that comes from understanding the temporariness of what I'm doing, I think so many people are scared to like jump at opportunities and like try and win and like, push themselves to the next level, because they are complacent and they think they're going to live forever, and they've got so much time to like, become that person or start that business. And I just think differently. And it's not because I've had a life or death experience. I think I've just realized that we're going to die, could be soon. So let's just jump in. And it's embarrassing if it fails. Who really cares? Honestly, like, it's like, well, what? We're here for like not even a split second of the universe's time. So might as well make it awesome. I think that's what really drives me at the bottom, like, of it all. If I had to really go to the crux of it, it's just understanding that nothing is really set in stone, and nothing we really do is that serious if you look at the big picture. So you might as well just try your best. Yeah.
I love that. And you mentioned something interesting there, is you must always remember you're not going to live forever. Just jump in and embarrass yourself.
Exactly. And I think that's why there's so many times where I feel like people don't go after the job they want, don't do what they want to do, don't start all these cool ideas because they think they have time, A, and then B, they scared of embarrassing themselves, scared of losing, scared of failing. And I think I've lost that somewhere along the way, because I'm like, this is so temporary if you look at what's going on. Like, honestly, it doesn't even matter, and people are thinking about themselves. Like, no one even cares if your whole thing fails. So you might as well try.
And you conquered, you absolutely lived this out. I think it was 2 weeks ago when you came to Marissa, and immediately, I think it was your first meeting, if I recall correctly, you came in.
Yeah.
And you just jumped in at table topics. And I laughed because it's like,
I didn't even know when to stop. Like, I remember, like, I was talking, and then halfway through I was like, okay, wait, maybe I should just ask. I was like, sorry, when do I end? Like, I don't know where everyone else was, because your face goes on the screen. I was like, this is like, I was having a good time, and then I was like, well, wait, I don't actually have any idea what's going on. Yeah, it was scary stuff, man.
And you ended up killing like that entire, maybe killing is not the correct English word for this instance, but you ended up killing the space and you won the table topics, which was even more fascinating.
I feel like I had a lot of beginner's luck. I feel like people didn't know what to expect of me, and they just saw like this little like hashtag white girl. What's she gonna say? And then like I was just maybe different to what they expected. So I don't know. I honestly don't know what was different there because I really didn't know what I was doing. As you can see, like halfway through the video, I was like, what must I do? But once again, it's like, who even cares if I did or didn't do well? Because I mean, it's so irrational. I think people overhype all these things, and it's like, just start, just go. Because if I didn't go then, when was I going to start? And the irony was that whole session, remember the theme was something like new beginnings or something? I don't know. I don't remember.
Yes.
I know, how ironic. That was like the theme, and that's like when my first like Toastmasters thing was.
So what was your strategy when you went in? Because you talk about this idea of jumping in and, you know, just not being scared to embarrass yourself. Do you ever like think about how you're going to approach it? How do you overcome that fear? Like, how do you make that decision to be like, you know what,
Yeah.
this is new to me. I'm gonna just do it. I'm gonna just jump in. I'm not gonna embarrass myself. Like, where do you find that courage? What's your strategy for getting over that fear?
It's actually strange because if I don't, I had a squash coach at school, you know, like when you play team sports at school, you have a coach, whatever. And she always told me I always played my worst games when I wanted to win. And so I'm almost that like reverse person where if I really try and impress someone, or I actually stuff it up because I'm trying so hard. So I've learned to just let things be and not try and push the envelope and not be so hung up on the outcome. Because that's when I would stuff it up. I don't know if that works for everybody. I mean, I definitely worked really hard to get my degree, and I didn't YOLO things. But I had no strategy going into that Toastmasters meeting. I honestly didn't think I was going to talk or put my camera on. And then I was kind of like, okay, the Wi-Fi's come back and it looks like it's good, so let me just give this a bash. I also think it was a very warm space. I felt very comfortable. You know, everyone looked like warm and inviting humans. I think I felt safe to make that leap, you know? I think in a different situation, maybe I would have been like, okay, I'm just going to hop off here. This is not for me. So I think it's the environment, and B, sometimes you shouldn't strategize, because I actually think you stuff it up. Like, just let your natural, you know, personality come through, you know? I think that's always a good idea.
Not overthinking what you're going to do and just going in for it.
Yeah, and
Letting your natural
over-scripting,
part come through.
over-trying. Exactly. Like, let your natural personality and soul come through. I think that's a great idea for almost everyone. I think there's some people who maybe they could push themselves more, but it's to me, I can't judge, because to me, I'm not that person. I'm like, sometimes I'm telling myself to relax, you know, I'm like, whoa. I guess I'm very extroverted. Sometimes introverts, I'm like, come on, bro, like, stand up, come on, try.
Go for it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So, Carmen, how does public speaking, let me rephrase it this way. A number of times people come to the public speaking space, not just for ambitions, but because of maybe personal challenges that they've had in the past, or, you know, have you ever experienced a bad public speaking incident that's filled into you wanting to become a better public speaker? Or are you just driven by the ambition to persuade other people?
I don't think I've had a terribly bad public speaking situation. I am dyslexic though. Like, I've grown up, when I was diagnosed when I was very young. And so at school, I could never read my speech cards. You know how people would have their speech cards at school and then you go up there and you say your speech? I could never do that because it would scramble and I could never read it. And so I think from quite young, I had to learn to speak on my feet because I literally couldn't read the cards in front of me. And so it was a scary situation for me, like doing speeches at school, and you know how it was at school. You know, you're getting marked, everyone's judging you. It's a lot. But I think, yeah, I couldn't read, so I literally couldn't read the page. So I ended up being very natural with how I was speaking since then, literally from whenever they make you do speeches at school. And so I became comfortable talking sort of off the cuff because it was the only choice, honestly. And so, yeah, I've never actually struggled with public speaking that much. But once again, I've never had to do it in a business sense. I think that makes me more nervous when it's like I'm trying to convince a client, or, you know, that sort of scenario is where I think I can feel that angst, and I'm like, I don't want to feel that. I want to own that space, you know? And it's honestly probably just because I haven't had experience. Like at university, you don't need to sell anyone of anything. You just gotta
True.
like, yeah, man.
Just got to make that teacher smile, get those marks, and you're good to go, man. That's all you came there for.
Exactly. Just got to get that piece of paper. So yeah, I think it's a whole new era I'm sort of entering into in the workspace. And yeah, and there's definitely, it's to me that urge to know how to communicate properly, know how to persuade, having those skills really ironed out almost before it matters. You know, I mean, right now I'm just like a junior data engineer. No one's super concerned if I can't convince them. But it's about training, you know, starting that training early, because you don't know when you're going to need it, and you don't want to then like be fumbling. You know what I mean? Yeah.
True. And, you know, just on a quick side note, as you were speaking about the thing with challenge that you had with the dyslexia and how you always had to speak off the cuff. And I'm thinking, I'm like, no wonder you came and you won Mariswa. You've been practicing since. They never had a chance from the moment you walked into that room.
I know.
Again, always speaking off the cuff.
And I mean, this is something I've learned over the years. It definitely didn't feel like this when I was at school, but the older I get, the more grateful I am for like my neurodiversity, you know? Like I love the fact that I'm like ADD and dyslexic, because it makes me think very differently about things, and I feel like I'm so much more open to ideas, and there's 100 different things going on in my head, and sometimes I'm like, how are these people not thinking of anything? And even this is like a beautiful example. I've never even realized this myself, of how my dyslexia sort of helped me become a better speaker, because I had no choice. Actually, as a little kid, I had to. There was no speech cards to lean back on, bro. You got to speak. So yeah, I think, and it's difficult when you're a kid to know that, because everyone's looking at you like you're a retard, and there's definitely that stigmatism that you feel of being whatever, having learning disabilities or whatever. And it's cool to be in a space now and be able to look back and look at how positively being different is actually. And I think it's really important to tell kids that stuff, like when they're little, so that you don't feel stupid like I did.
True.
Yeah.
Because it also, like, it impacts a lot of your confidence growing up. But looking at how you've reframed that, like your confidence is now sitting at 100. You're willing to take risks. You're willing to embarrass yourself, and you've accepted that. You're different.
Yeah.
You see the world differently, and look where it's brought you. It's brought you into the space where you're even now becoming a public speaker, working on your public speaking skills. That is definitely something commendable. Not everybody can, make that perspective change, and it's part of how you see the world, and it's what fascinated me when I first heard your speech. So I'm definitely happy to have met you, Carmen. I think you're amazing.
Thank you. It's so inspirational. I'm so happy to have met you and, be journeying along with you on this. It's so exciting.
The audience was a bit delayed there. Damn it.
We still love them. I love that.
So Carmen, what? No, they're unprovoked. Anyway, Carmen, what are some personal or professional lessons that you've learned from just this particular Toastmasters experience that you'd be willing to share with anybody that would love to come into the space or that's still in the space continuing?
Yeah. I think for me, the 3 lessons were, number 1, show up, and like trust the timing. And I mean, it's going to sound all spiritual. I don't mean it like that, but like trust the timing of things crossing your path. If someone randomly mentions a cool book to you and it resonated with you, go get it, read it. Like when Simon mentioned the Toastmasters, I was initially like, nah, and then it came up again, like go, like show up. That was really important to me. Like this has led to such a cool aspect of my life that I'm so excited to explore. And I think it's really taught me that lesson of showing up and really, just if something crosses your path, things don't just happen. Like follow it. You even were like, come on my podcast. I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome to follow things that land on your path. And I nearly missed this. You know what I mean? Like I nearly didn't come. I mean, and no, not to this podcast. No, to Maurice. Like I nearly didn't join Simon at Maurice. No, I was always going to come to the podcast. I love podcasts. Chatting one-on-one.
I almost cried there.
No, never. No, I'm saying like I nearly missed my opportunity to join Toastmasters in general, and I think there's a lot of people out there who are missing awesome opportunities just because they're not showing up. So have the courage to show up. You just have no idea where it could lead. Like what is this? What are we doing right now? This is crazy. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's awesome where life takes you if you show up. So yeah, that's I think definitely the big learning for me.
It's awesome where life takes you when you show up. Have the courage to show up.
Exactly. Like have the courage to show up, put up your hand. Things don't just land. Yeah, things don't just cross your path. Like I definitely believe there's a reason, but things can also pass you. So don't just pass. Don't let them pass. I love the crowd that just goes wild randomly. It's all
they can't hold themselves back. I don't know. It's because you're dropping bombs.
Thank you. Drops my joke.
So just on this note of showing up, you reminded me of something that I almost forgot to touch on today, which was being the most adaptable person in the room, or in this case, being the most adaptable speaker. And I know we've spoken about a few concepts that could feed into that, like showing up, just feeling, okay with embarrassing yourself, stepping into the fear. But when people come into a space such as public speaking, when they do show up and when they do face that fear and they do make the decision to embarrass themselves, how else in your opinion, can they become the most adaptable person in the room or the most adaptable speaker?
That's definitely something I've noticed as I've joined more of the Toastmasters meetings, and I've almost learned through osmosis by watching good speakers and then speakers that are starting their journeys and reflecting on what I just said. And it's definitely, there's people who can read their audience really well, and I can literally see how they adapt their speech to what the crowd's doing. And I think that's something I haven't honed yet. And I think that's something that an adaptable, really good person, adaptable speaker, the person I'd want to be, is good at. They can read the room and then change course without losing their way. And I think if someone's coming into the space and, they're facing their fears just by showing up, I think it's almost good to take a step back and see the dynamics of the room and see that you're not the only starter, number one. And number two, see the journey that other people have taken around you. It's really cool to be in a space where you can see the different progressions of speakers and the differences between incredible speakers and people that are starting out. And that's, to me, how I've learned so much already, and how I'm planning to, engage more in the space, is noticing those little things that you can fix. And for me, those things is reading the room and then being able to adapt what you're saying without like sweating it, without having any issues changing and molding yourself to your environment. Yeah, and that's definitely, I think, going to come from observation. So I think if you're someone just starting out, it's already stressful just being there. Take a step back and just look at what's happening. Look at the really good speakers, homies that are starting out, and just watch the journey unfold and know that you're with them on that, which is beautiful.
Watch the homies that are doing it. I love that. I'm actually
because I keep saying dude and homies. I need to get serious.
I'm actually I was actually thinking the title of this short clip is "Watch the homies do it." That is actually such a tweet.
Watch the homies and become adaptable speakers. We should change the show name.
And why would you say being the most adaptable person in the room is so important for you on an individual level? I know it's something, just listening to some of the past pieces you've done, you always speak about wanting to be the most adaptable, the importance of being so adaptable. And I'm curious, in your opinion, why is it so important and why do you emphasize it so much?
Yeah, I think, firstly, like I've been through a lot of changes in my life where I've had to adapt. And I've noticed how much it's helped me to be able to adapt through my trials and tribulations in my life. But I also think if you think about it, in the bigger picture, we humans are here because we were the most adaptable species. Like we should be chilling in the jungle right now. The reason we're here.
Jungle.
Yeah, the whole like we should be under a tree, like counting little bugs. But we're here because we are the most adaptable species on this planet. And to me, that's like honestly, I think that's like the human's greatest strength, besides our brain and all this other cool stuff we've got. It's because we've adapted. And I think if we're going to move forward as a species as well, that adaptation is going to need to kick up on like we need to be better about a million times, but that's a whole other debate for another day. So to me, the big picture of how we've got here as a human species is the theme to me is adaptability. And to me in my life, when I look at the big picture of where I want to go, like we're going to need to adapt to so many different spaces. I also think just as humans, like everything's becoming, we're living in change. Like there's literally one constant that's going to be around, and that's change. Things are going to change. Like no matter how hard you fight or you don't want them to, like change is going to occur in all of our lives. And so the better we become at adapting, the better, the easier life, it's just, we can just flourish. All of us can just do a whole lot better. So yeah, I think not only for my own life and what I've experienced and what I've seen about the power of adaptability in my personal life, I think big picture adaptability is so key to success.
I love that. Adaptability is key to success.
Yeah.
I love that. So, Carmen, final thoughts on public speaking, final thoughts on your Toastmasters experience, final thoughts on stepping in to your fears and being yourself in the public speaking space. What are your final thoughts?
I think my final thoughts for this whole journey and, joining you tonight is just, I think there's three things that stick out for me. First one is showing up. Like, just show up. You don't know where it's going to take you. Number two, never underestimate the power of being a great communicator. To me, it's a skill. And public speaking, when I say communication, I mean public speaking. If you cannot communicate yourself, or you cannot public speak well, you cannot, I mean, I'm not talking well right now anyway, but if you can't do that effectively, I genuinely think you won't be able to create the life you really want and the life you really deserve. So show up and learn those skills. It's something we can all become better at, is speaking and public speaking and being better communicators. So Oh no. What does this mean? Hello?
Carmen, are you still with me? I think I may have lost you there.
Oh no. I don't know what happened, but I think I'm back. Hello? Can you hear me,
I
Matt?
can see your face. I can. I don't know what happened. I'm seeing like 5 other versions of you, 4. But anyway.
Okay, is it all good? Is it okay? Are we back?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know where I stopped. I don't know where I cut off. Where should I go from? Are we all good?
Oh, I'd love, I know the recording is going to catch you, but I'd love to hear what you were saying into the remaining 2 points. I heard you as you were wrapping up on the first point, the first
Okay.
of the 3.
Okay, so the second point, I'm gonna go to that one. I think that's the one where, right? You didn't catch that one.
Yeah.
I can see you talking, but I can't hear you. I don't know why my internet's given up on us right now. That's so sad. I just connected to my phone because I was like, the internet's clearly not with me. So let's. Okay, should I try?
Did
Can
you
you
hear
hear
that?
me?
Are you with me? Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, go for it.
I'll just try. Okay, so the second point for me was if you cannot communicate effectively, if you're not really good at public speaking, I don't know if you will be able to create the life that you really want and that you really deserve, because you're not going to be able to communicate effectively and persuade people of both your ideas and your worth and your goals. And so I really think it's super important that people show up in that way and develop these skills. Did you catch that? Is that good?
I love that. I
Okay.
love that. I did. Again, going back to the main reason why you started, so that you could persuade people to help you create the life that you want to live. So I love that. Carmen, thank you very much for being on the show today.
Yay! Thank you so much. It's been so fun. I honestly feel so honored to be on the show, and I hope
The
everyone
audience loved you.
has.
The audience loved you. I enjoyed listening to you. I enjoyed chatting to you. And I'm looking forward to us doing another episode, either on this platform or on other different platforms where, I do feel like you've got a vast knowledge to share. And people can definitely benefit from the knowledge that you've gained from your personal life experience and from your professional experience, amongst everything else. But what I'm most excitedly looking forward to is doing a catch up on your journey in this space. So thank you very much for coming through, Carmen. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate the nuggets that you've dropped. And I think you're an amazing human being.
Thank you. I think you're awesome, Matt. Thank you so much for inviting me. And thank you to your listeners. I hope you guys have enjoyed it if you've come up to here with us. And I'm super excited to come back in the future. Hopefully, I'll have lots of awesome stories to share as we move along this journey. I can't wait to see where it leads. There's even a crowd that laughs.
Perfect.
That's amazing.
See, audio. They're going wild. They're becoming unruly now. Anyway, we still love them though. Anyway, thank you again, Carmen, and I'll chat to you soon.
Cool. Have a great night. Thank you so much. This was so fun.